Hi, I'm Seamus with Sam and Liam here, and today we're going to be discussing our playoffs for the NFL. The NFL season is getting underway pretty soon. So, what do you got, Sam?
So for the AFC East division winner, I'd have the Buffalo Bills. They have the most complete roster in the NFL, an absolutely great offense, a great defense, and Josh Allen, a former MVP candidate. He's going to have a great season. They are my pick.
Well, I personally have the Bills as well. A good offense and a astounding defense. They're superb, and I just don't see anybody else coming out of the AFC East. I mean,
Yep.
you got the Jets who aren't going to contend for a few years, like Patriots, Dolphins, maybe give them a run, but I don't see anybody else.
I also have the Bills. I think they're one of the best teams in the AFC, and I just see them coming out of this East in this semi-weak East division. I mean, you have two wild card candidates, but that's about it. The Jets are one of the worst teams in the league, but the Bills are a great team. They're one of the best in the league, and I can see them getting through. What do you got for the AFC West?
So for the AFC West, this is an interesting division. I'm gonna pick the Kansas City Chiefs because it's really the obvious pick. They have a super great offense led by Patrick Mahomes, the former MVP, and a great defense as well. A dark horse is the Los Angeles Chargers. I think they will make the playoffs, but I don't think they have a chance of winning the division.
I got the Chiefs as well. I got them going about 13 and 4, 14 and 3. But a dark horse, double digit wins this year. The Denver Broncos. I mean, Vic Fangio's on the hot seat, defensive mastermind. In that defense, with the addition of Kyle Fuller, they did lose Melvin Ingram.
Patrick Surtain as well.
Yeah, this team, I could see them making a deep run.
Well, I can't see the Broncos, but I got the Chiefs. I mean, when you have Patrick Mahomes, it's a guaranteed wild card team almost. But when you put him around this great offense and a decent defense, good enough to carry them, as we've seen in years prior, I think this is a great team.
Okay, AFC North now. I have the Cleveland Browns winning this. They are one of the top five teams in the NFL. Their roster is really incredible. There is no hole at all that I see in this roster. Last year they had defensive concerns, but they totally solved them in the offseason with the additions of John Johnson and Troy Hill from the Rams, as well as Jadeveon Clowney and JOK from Notre Dame and Greg Newsome from Northwestern. They are my pick.
I got the Browns as well. I can see them giving the Chiefs a run for their money. They got knocked out by them last year in the playoffs. And that 1-2 punch of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, I just think it's unstoppable with how good this whole line is.
Well, I also have the Browns, and we seem to have agreed on most of these predictions. But the Browns are just a tough team to beat. I mean, when you have a great quarterback, um, when you have the best duo of running backs in the league, when you have OBJ and Jarvis Landry, when you have a good offensive line and a great defense,
A great offensive line.
a great offensive line and a great defense. It's just impossible to stop. They have everything, but I just got to see them moving on.
Okay, moving on to the AFC South, I have the Tennessee Titans. They won this division last year, and I don't see that changing. They had a great offseason. They didn't lose too much. I believe they signed Bud Dupree this offseason, and they obviously had the addition of Julio Jones. I don't see the Colts catching up to them.
I got the Titans as well. I do have the Colts as a playoff team, though, but with Derrick Henry staying, Tannehill staying, they did lose Corey Davis to the Jets, but you did get Julio Jones, so I got the Titans.
Well, I also have the Titans. I mean, they're just a great team, and I gotta say they've shown that they can do it. They've made the playoffs the past few years, and they've been pretty good in the playoffs. They went on a run, got to the NFC Championship in 2019. Last year was a bit of a disappointing loss, but they still have the same team. Derrick Henry is still the same beast, and yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Now moving on to the wild card teams. These are the teams that were not good enough to win the division but made the playoffs. I have the Ravens. They are obviously a great team. And the Browns are just, I think, too good for the Ravens to catch up to, but I do have the Ravens making the playoffs. Along with the Los Angeles Chargers, they have a great offense. Justin Herbert coming into his second year. It will be very dangerous, especially with the two additions of Rashawn Slater and Corey Linsley to the offensive line. And Derwin James is healthy now. And finally, the Patriots, they spent a ton of money in the offseason. I think they will have the last spot in the wild card.
I got the Steelers, Colts, Broncos. Steelers were the best team in the league. Colts, they got Carson Wentz for Phillip Rivers, and Broncos with that amazing defense.
Well, I have the Colts, Pats, and Ravens. They all have. There's one thing in common with these teams. They have good defenses. And, I mean, their offenses are pretty good. If Carson Wentz can stay where he was a few years ago, this team is good. But that's going to wrap up our show, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and bye.